welcome to our Bible story time for today. Before we read this story, I just want to remind you that today we are pondering what it means to care for ourselves. Sometimes we're given the message that caring for ourselves is selfish, or we worry that others might think we don't care enough for them. But it's so important to have love and compassion for ourselves that God even included it as one of the greatest rules to live by. Today's story highlights something very simple, yet often forgotten. A commandment to love God, love our neighbors, and yes, love ourselves. As we listen to this story, I want you to think about what you feel when you hear Jesus say, love and care for others as yourself. Why do you think it's so important to care for yourself? What does that look like for each of you? I want you to let me know.
Okay, we only have 3 emotions to do today. Our first one is unsure. This is the sign for doubt. You're going to take your 2 fists and do it like a bicycle. Once again, 2 fists, just like a bicycle. Our second sign is jealous. You're going to take your pinky, put it up to the corner of your mouth, and make a scoop. Once again, right up here by your mouth, make a scoop. And our final sign is worried. Take your 2 hands, make them like this, and wiggle them in circles. Once again, right up by your face, wiggle them in circles.
Jesus and the disciples spent a lot of time in Jerusalem. One day, he was at the temple, teaching and telling stories. A lot of people listened eagerly, but many had questions.
The temple leaders and elders were unsure of him and asked, "Who gave you power to do and say these things?" Some were jealous and wanted to trick him, so they asked, "Should the people pay taxes?" Others were worried and asked him, "What happens in the resurrection and the afterlife?"
Then one of the temple leaders was curious about Jesus. He saw that Jesus was wise and kind. He asked him, "Which one of God's laws is the most important?"
Jesus answered, "The first is what we all know. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God. The Lord is one. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and all your strength."
Before the leader could ask more, Jesus went on. The second is love your neighbor as yourself. These 2 are the most important of God's laws.
The leaders who question Jesus are concerned with so much. They're focused on things that aren't related to loving God, loving neighbors, or loving ourselves. They don't understand or trust Jesus, how he heals, teaches, loves, and how the people follow him. So they asked Jesus, "Where did you go to become a teacher?" Because they didn't understand where he got his power and knowledge. They asked him about his political views, hoping he would choose one side and make at least some people angry if he didn't choose their side. They asked him about complicated things like the afterlife because they thought he wouldn't be able to give a good answer. And then the people would become unsure of him too and stop following him.